I am back and I'm thrilled to be back. Just saying, episode 17. And man, oh man, it is going to be a banger. And it's a banger because already we're in the preseason, but it's going to be our shortest preseason ever. And we're going to be getting right back into RLCS. And we're already seeing craziness. So we've got all the madness to talk about. So me, Greybeard, Lebromeo, and Brav. Hello, gentlemen.
I'm happy to be here once again, and I'm glad to be in the middle this time. For the last 2 weeks, it's just been me on the left all by myself. So, Greybeard may be the first one to welcome you back, and please don't ever leave again.
It's good to be here as well. Welcome back, GB. Good to have you back in South Africa and manning the hull once again. I think give props to Bromeo for manning the ship super well.
Absolutely, he's at pains to tell me how much he hates it, but he was there. The main thing, and the thing that I was thrilled with, is that the show carried on despite the absence. So that was very good. The news kept on coming. I should probably say hello to everyone in chat. Who have we got here? When I scroll on chat, last stream's chat is still there. So often I don't want to go too far back. But Tubbsy, Devour, Bruv's in chat, and the Fromias. Yeah, Tubbsy, Keegs, Demonics, Borky, Sir Pegasus, Ashy, Pager, Yoshmeister, Rumble Truck, Borky, I think I said, and Papito, and of course Raids producing. Thank goodness Raids is here producing. I don't think I could have handled being thrown back with everything we got to cover and having to produce it myself. So we're always thrilled to have Raids there. Gents, so what has been happening? I feel like has anything happened?
Well, you'd be very, very glad to hear that no shoeies occurred in the two weeks that you were not here. So that we consider a win. It's due to because running a show is quite stressful, and the kind of people we had on weren't really shoey conducive. So it's just I was waiting for the stars to align and it was cloudy. So that's what we're talking about with regards to that. But overall, it's been pretty hectic. These last couple of weeks, things have been moving forward. You missed the dissolution of a long storied team. We saw Limitless officially break up. We saw Sweaty and To Die For decide that they're looking for a third. Snowy and Guns looking for a third. So the world's been going crazy, GB, and I'm glad that you are here to right this SSA ship.
I do believe, obviously the big news out of Worlds was the new region rules, which is something we've all been praying for and campaigning for, and it is now here. And fascinating that it is a global rule. And I think what this has done is it's getting every region to suddenly think about mixing teams. We have seen it happen, but because it's now an established rule, I think suddenly it shifts something in the thinking. And we're hearing rumors of First Killer going over to Vitality. I don't know if that'll happen. Drali joining the Falcons. Although, funnily enough, Drali's been playing in EU, but he is MENA. He's out of Morocco, so he is technically a MENA player. So him going to Falcons doesn't even make it a 2/3 rule for the Falcons. It'll be an all MENA squad. But in the South African context, the SSA context, it is huge. And no doubt there will be more talk of it. And in the coming weeks, we are going to do a little bit of a power ranking of two things. One, power ranking of EU players that could come to SSA. And, so we're not looking at the Dralis or the Abjacks or Jorias. Those guys are never going to come to SSA. But I feel like there are a bunch of amazing bubble players that could conceivably find themselves playing in SSA. So we'll do a bit of a power ranking of that. And then the SSA duos we would love to see teaming up with a powerhouse EU player. But there's going to be, I'm just loving the potential, Bromeo and Bruv, the potential content that is coming. The fact that the season starts so early. So I think we're at like, what, 65 days, 64 days before the start of the season. It's just madness. And then these rosters. So I think we're going to have a delicious time on top of everything else going on.
Gravid, I just want to say this is absolutely ridiculous because in the time that you've been gone, we're literally 2 weeks away from the RSC LAN. Another LAN has sort of been leaked to the winds that we'll talk about a little bit just now. So that's also still happening this year. I just finished up with the VS show that we were doing today, and that just wraps up VS for the season. There is still so much Rocket League. We're in October now.
Yeah.
And October, November, December, we've got 3 months left of the year. And by all means, we should be done. We should be playing a cute little community cup somewhere and, just enjoying the fact that we just play the game. But no, RLCS wants us to come back again this year for it. It wants to start in November. It's not even starting in December. It's starting in November. And... That's absolutely incredible. That's a month away, Greybeard. So, I'm just losing my mind here because I thought we were supposed to wrap up the year, not start a new one while we're still in this one.
Bruv, I don't know if you remember, but the end of the 2023 season, which ended sort of around this time, like August, September, end of September of 2023, and it was like this ocean of nothing going on for October, November. It was like, it seemed like forever, this long, never-ending off-season. And now it feels like there's going to be no off-season.
Pretty much, yeah. Just consistently grinding Rocket League, I guess, is what Psyonix and RLCS is trying to do here to players, observers, casters, everyone. But it's good. It's good. It's healthy for the scene. It creates opportunities. And I'm glad. I'm glad there's so much pressure. I'm glad there's no off season.
I'm going to say this early, and I'm cautious about getting too hyped too soon. But with everything I'm seeing, generally speaking, I do think that this upcoming season is going to be the best that SSA has ever had, and I cannot wait. Now, let's stop waffling about what might be. Let's talk about news, hard news. And first and foremost, we do have on the panel here two of SSA's newest, or two of SSA's only, really, RLCS analysts. And you can see I've had my background done.
Well played. Well played. Congratulations, pat on the back. I'm very chuffed to grab it. I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome given the fact that you've been in the scene for so long, Greybeard. You've been the one knocking down the doors, creating the space, making SSA relevant in all of the social circles. And I feel that I've been thinking about this now. I've been on the RLCS panel for 2 full seasons, as well as, the ins and outs. And I still feel that RLCS analyst tag, is a heavy burden to bear for me. But because when I think of all of the people who've casted before me in the scene, and I know Ultrism probably also received one. I haven't seen him posted out yet, but there's been so many people who are on the desk before us who didn't receive a title because they're obviously not concurrent and present right now. So I think, less of a win for myself and for you, Greybeard. It's a win for everybody because it's slow but sure recognition of our region. So I know that there are many other deserving people, but I am just glad that we as a group got recognized.
You touched on something incredibly important there, in that the recognition thing. If we go back to the very first season of RLCS, firstly, it was amazing that we were included, but every region got a stream except SSA. It was like, yeah, you're not even going to get a stream, and we've been fighting and clawing and inching our way forward, and now we've got an official partnership with Blast for our broadcast. And then I know Machtfish has been banging the drum for titles for ages. Like, we got to get titles. And I said to him, Macht, they will never give those titles outside of North America and Europe. So So make your peace with it and move on. And I made my peace with it. I was very happy not to have it. And then suddenly at the end of last season, they said, oh, by the way, you're going to be getting titles. And then suddenly I desperately wanted it.
Man, I haven't played more Rocket League than I have in the last 2 days since I got that title. Purely because it's how I felt when I first got my titanium white octane before they removed trading, because there was no other way to get it. To get a titanium white like octane was almost impossible, and it was like the holy grail. And so to make me feel like a school kid logging in and then seeing the title, I know I'm harping on about this, but it was truly special, and I didn't realize how much it mattered to me as well until it appeared. So yeah, I'm just hugely grateful.
All right, and then Ashley Page is asking what title. So the broadcasters or the talent from last season got RLCS analyst titles in game. That's what we're talking about. All right, let's move on. Enough about us. This weekend was the very last Champions Road event. And it was Jump Jam, and I'm not even 100% sure what mode Jump Jam is and how it all works. But these Champion Roads, I've been very, what's the word? Non-committal. The fact that we have so many EU players in it, or whatever, I haven't paid deep attention to it. But this was the very, very last one. And I think it's worthwhile to do a quick recap, look at the results of it, because for two reasons. One, very importantly, as we'll see shortly, an SSA team won Champions Road. And secondly, it is the very last event you will ever see that has full EU rosters playing in it. So it is ultimately the au revoir, goodbye, sayonara to EU. So we'll give them their last little time in the sun there. And I see, Harmonic, your timing is perfect. It's just arrived.
Magical.
All right, so let's have a look. 39 teams signed up for the Jump Jam, and these were the top 8. These are the teams that finished top 8 in the whole event. And you can see number 1, Boogie Beasts 514. What a cuck name. And that was To Die For, Sweaty and Guns. They are the Champions Road Jump Jam champions. So well done to them. Then number 2, Bulletproof, all EU roster of Youngstar, Rubix and Bryzar. Thanks for coming, guys. Peace. And then
Goodbye.
3, French Class 2.0, which was Willu, Jeff, and Full Stop. I don't know who was playing.
It was
the
Tweaks.
Was it Tweaks? Man, that guy, can't he just call himself Tweaks? So they came third. And what's pretty groovy about that is a 3-nation SSA team. Reunion, South Africa, and Namibia. So bang on, French Class 2.0. And then a team that just called themselves multiples of the letter Y, all EU squad of players that I don't know. So the less said about that, the better. Number 5 from SSA, White Rabbit Gaming. Say again?
I think they were MENA, by the way.
MENA?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me rephrase. All non-SSA roster.
Goodbye anyway, yeah. Goodbye.
And then, guys, White Rabbit continuing their run. They've had such a good year. Have White Rabbit Gaming, Casper Galaxy, and Banana Cat coming in 5th.
Oh, I love that. That's absolutely amazing to see, and we saw it actually on the conclusion of VS. We Casper linking up so well with Banana Cat on offense, and Galaxy rounding off a fantastic performance for them there. And I'm so glad to see this form continuing. That they're actually on the rise and they haven't been counted yet for their playstyle yet. So 5th, still very respectable, especially amongst their peers. If you have a look at who else finished here.
Okay, I've just been informed. Jump Jam, you get unlimited, unlimited jumps and unlimited
dodges. It's unlimited jumps so that you don't have to do flip resets. You can just keep hitting.
Oh, sounds like my kind of game. Made for me. I should have been playing. All right. Then in sixth place is Bim Bam Bum, Steak, Mira, Denisino, and then Jalading, Lewis P, Ivan, and Kaka. And we'll circle back to Kaka because I see he's LFT for an SSA team. So he's one of the potential EU players that we might see with an SSA roster. And then coming in last, not last, but eighth, Astronic Esports, and Yilo, Berachu, and Kramox. So there you go. Jump Jam, the last of the Champions Road tournaments, the last of the all non-SSA rosters. So that's good news. And there you go.
Hey, I got one now as well. Have a look. Thanks, Rates. Absolute beast.
What?
Hey.
Yeah, no. I got it here as well. Look, RLCS analyst.
There he is.
But, just to touch back on that, I also see that Anilo is LFT in SSA as well. So the one thing I'm grateful for, and before I continue bashing on EU players that they must fuck off from our region, is that there's a good amount of players who've been playing RLCS and SSA consistently ever since they were allowed in. And I love to see the fact that they are looking to join SSA teams to stay here. That for me is a positive. It's a massive positive that there isn't a skills drain now that the rules are changing.
There were, I can't even remember who I was having this conversation with, but when all is said and done, there's pretty much only about 5 players that I would not lose a moment's sleep if they never appeared in SSA again. For the most part, everyone else was fabulous. There's some really, really good people, and now we really do get to see the benefit of those players here, because we cannot dispute, as frustrating, as angry, and as depressed as I got, what cannot be disputed is how the region's skill level was uplifted over the 2 seasons that sort of free-for-all rule was in place. And for that, I am grateful. But we just couldn't continue with a situation where so much of the prize pool money was leaving the region. So now most of that will be staying here, which is fantastic news.
No, 100% agree with that.
So that pretty much wraps up then the Jump Jam and brings us to our next topic, which is FIFAe. FIFAe, the rocket
message from Syntax, which we'll get there. But he said best names roster for FIFAe, and why would the team be that? I'm assuming he's saying, and I'm assuming he's talking about SSA. So we can maybe round off this topic with answering that question for him.
Well, listen, we're about to talk about FIFAe, so that's going to be very much in the spotlight now. So that'll definitely be what we're talking about now. The Rocket League World Cup, an inaugural event was last year, and because it was announced so late, there wasn't time to do much other than for FIFA to nominate 16 countries and have them come and play the World Cup at the end of last year. And South Africa was enormously fortunate to be named as Africa's representative then. But it is being done differently this year. And we had high hopes that it would be done better than it has been. But, we are dealing with a football association for whom this is a very new thing. It's something they don't understand. They're desperately trying to figure out and come to grips with. So the administration of it hasn't been first class, but this is only the second year of what is going to be an annual event. So it will get better and better. Now, let's start with the format. Thank you for that follow. The format, so there isn't a direct nomination. We aren't just getting an invite. South Africa will have to compete alongside a bunch of other African countries for a spot. Okay, well, hold on. I had a whole bunch of information prepped. Let me actually go to that. So 15 national teams will qualify for the World Cup. There'll be 16 there, but the host nation is Saudi Arabia, so they get auto qualification. So other than Saudi Arabia, there will be 15 other teams that will have to qualify to be there. And this is the breakdown of how many slots make up those 15. Asia East and Oceania get 2 spots. Asia West, and I don't know what's in Asia East and I don't know what's in Asia West, but Asia West gets 1 spot. Africa gets 2 spots. So there will be 2 African teams competing at the Rocket League World Cup. And then Europe gets 7 qualifying spots. And that's just because of the number of countries in Europe. I mean, it's done by country because you can't have more than 1 team per country going. It is the national team. And then what makes me the happiest, and it is because there's only 3 countries there, but North and Central America get 1 spot. It still makes me laugh, though.
That is actually pretty crazy, but it does make sense. It does make sense, and especially the fact that I think it's Canada who are not going to be represented. Or is it, Team Canada?
No, Canada isn't. And then there was some, I've seen conflicting reports on the USA. They initially said they didn't want to participate, but then I've seen them on the list of nations. So I'm not quite sure where that stands now. Syntech is saying US gets the spot.
Well, so if US gets the spot, then there is pretty much nowhere else to go with that one. So it's basically saying USA gets a spot. And I think that's fair, given the fact that they represent a majority region in the Rocket League space. And the fact that there's 7 going into EU, that's also pretty damn fair, considering the talent pool from those regions. So I'm excited to see, the talent mix-up that we're going to get. And Greybeard, you said we're going to talk a little bit more about how our team actually gets picked.
All right. Well, to close out the region, South America gets 2 spots, and I think Syntex is going to be competing for one of those spots. Funnily enough, Syntex, you can let me know about that if that's still happening. So so there's 2 parts to the South African team. One, we have to select the national team has to be selected, and then that team has to compete against. Compete in the groups. In fact, before we get to how South Africa is doing, let's have a look at the groups, because there are 2 groups in Africa, and the top of each group will go through to the World Cup finals. So Group A and Group B, we're going to put those up on screen now. There they are, and you'll see that we're very grateful not to be in the same group as Morocco. Since Morocco's team will include Drali and will include Nas, so that's a little rough.
that is going to be quite a power team, and it suddenly makes sense why there is 2 African slots. I think I was always interested to see this. Is that given the fact that Reunion Island is not it's in itself a sovereign nation, that they'd go straight for France, would they not?
No, I did find out Reunion was being regarded as its own country, but I don't think they accepted the FIFA invitation. I don't know what the Reunion Wilu was trying to get that sorted out. It just wasn't resolved in time. So it's very unfortunate because they absolutely should be competing here. But Group A, South Africa, Senegal, Tanzania, Mauritius, Comores, Ghana and Zimbabwe. I have no idea. Other than Ghana, I know the Ghanaian Football Association has been in touch with Lankai, and so he will definitely be on the team. But in terms of that group, as far as I can tell, Ghana and South Africa are the 2 competing for that top spot there. No idea if Senegal, Tanzania, Mauritius, Comores, and Zimbabwe have teams to field.
Greybeard, you do not know the powerhouse of Mauritius. You know Alex de Fatek. You know how good. You know how good he is in those Champ 1 lobbies. I am sure that he is going to represent his country with pride.
Well, I hope so.
Honestly, if he plays, I am casting that game.
Brilliant. And then over in Group B, Morocco, Libya, Madagascar, Egypt, South Sudan, and Seychelles. Egypt definitely has players. Certainly, I don't think the level of player that are going to be able to beat Morocco. But there we go. That is Group B. And so now that you've got the groups, and I see Jeff asked the question in chat is how the qualifying is working. So this is how it is going to work for South Africa. There is an open qualifier. Don't show that yet, Raids. That's coming. There's an open qualifier this weekend. 12 players from that open qualifier will go through to a closed trials. Now, let's talk about the criteria for a second. So, firstly, to compete in the FIFAe World Cup, you have to be 16 years old minimum and have a passport. And unfortunately, that disqualifies people like Ravi and Devour, which is unfortunate for them. But come back next year, boys. We'll be doing this again. And secondly, team will be selected based on performance in RLCS and VS, as well as the closed trials that are coming up. So from the open qualifier this Saturday, 12 players will move to the closed trials. And they will join 12 players who have been invited into the closed trial. So there will be 24 players. And so it won't be teams playing teams. All the players will be mixed. You'll play with other players. So as to get an idea of the general vibe, I guess, and performance with other players. And the 3 players selected to go will be drawn from those 24 players. The closed trials are happening on the 4th of October, which is the same day as Stellenbosch, but we'll talk more about that. But that's how that is happening. And then there is another criteria point which is important, which is community standing. So and that's just generally is the person a good representation for the South African team. So those are the general criteria. So you need to sign up for the qualifiers this weekend. And to do so, if you do the command in chat, !FIFAe, I'll do it for you now. That will take you to the link to register for the qualifiers this weekend. Now we can have a look at the invited players. The players who have been invited to the closed qualifier on the 4th of October are pretty much the top 4 out of VS at Comic-Con. So we can have a look at those now. And they are to die for: Guns, Tristan, Werty, Cam, Jeff, Nitro, Zyro, Galaxy, Wee Casper, Banana Cat, and Sweaty. So those are the invited players. So out of a pool of 24, we will select our 3. And importantly, we're now just waiting on the announcement of a coach, and the coach will obviously be very involved in selecting the 3. So we're waiting on that. When we expect the coach to be announced, probably by Wednesday, Thursday, I hope at the latest, to give them time to familiarize themselves with the job ahead. And there you go.
I think it just needs to be noted once again for the people who have ADD and weren't listening. These 12 players were selected from the people who participated in the local tournament called the Telkom VS. So if you are not local and you don't understand the workings around that, the Telkom VS is basically the local Rocket League tournament that runs alongside the RLCS. So there are going to be a couple of names that you do not recognize, or you feel that there should be other players in their stead. Those are the players who participated in Telkom VS. So obviously, Greybeard, you're going to get to it now. There is going to be an open qualifier for all the people who you think are going to, work their way in there.
Yeah, so I mean, all the names that you're familiar with that aren't on the list of invited players need to play the qualifier, because there's 12 more players to come out of that. So there's lots of room, and it's further shaved down by the fact that we can't have anyone younger than 16. Well, there's a few filters, I guess. One is age, the other is passport. If you don't have a passport, don't bother playing in the qualifier because you can't be selected and go if you can't leave the country since the competition's not happening in the country. So we'll see how that plays out.
I think that just to quickly touch on this, I also think it was a nice touching point that 12 were selected from our local tournament, and we don't speak about this often enough. Everyone's like, well, yeah, base it on RLCS, but given the fact that I'm sure this decision was made before the 2/3 rule was released, and which is also something that we haven't touched on since Greybeard left. And he hasn't been around. That was a stream that happened sans Greybeard, which was pretty impressive in its own. But I just think it's the importance of local tournaments must never lose importance. And I think if FIFAe is going to become a long-term tournament, I think it's fantastic that they're basing selection process off a local qualifying tournament. That just makes so much sense. Everywhere in the world, regarding your national team, you have to get national colors, and the way you do that is progressing through the local tournaments to represent your local team. So anybody who thinks that that's a flawed selection process, I think it's possibly the best.
And we haven't even touched on the potential for the FIFA World Cup. I do think it's going to take, last year, this year, and possibly next year, and maybe the year after that to iron out all the kinks, because Canada's a huge omission, and Canada's and it's changing the minds of football associations. They've got to wrap their heads around this crazy thing called esport, but. As it grows, the potential is so massive, and I do think it is so different to RLCS, and it becomes its own thing in a proper national competition. I think this is going to be a major event of the international calendar as the years go on and as this develops. At least that's my hope. Oh, and then Spain, of course, Harmonic mentioning. I mean, that's another one. No Spain. I mean, what?
You're just looking in the wrong region. You should have looked in the Africa slot.
Brilliant.
Sorry.
All right. Well, that's FIFA. So more news on that next week as the open qualifiers happen this Saturday. Now, some big news which happened. It was while I was away. I think it was. When was it? It was Monday 2 weeks ago, I think, where we saw the announcement of Limitless closing down, which kind of leaves the question we've seen To Die For and Sweaty tweeting out that they're looking for a third. We've seen Guns and Snowy, which still feels like a troll tweet to me, but apparently it's legit. So that has begged the question: A, what's happening with this roster? B, no Limitless. What does this mean? What's the future of it? Now, I guess the good news is that we are going to be seeing another big org in the SSA region. The owner of Limitless has now moved on and is the co-owner now of the Kansas City Pioneers, or KCP, or Pioneers. And he is here, and we're going to have a chat with Mr. Big Sin, and if everything has worked well according to plan, he'll appear on camera in a moment, or not. This is going to happen. I'm excited.
Greybeard's back. It means that these things happen from time to time. Hey, it works.
There he is, Big Sin. How are you, sir?
I am doing great, guys. How you guys doing?
Yeah, pretty good. I was trying to place the date, Big Sin, because this, of course, is not your first time on the podcast. I think. Am I correct in saying it was like 3 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a while. It was like right when we decided to come to SSA, so it's been about 3 years. Crazy.
3 years as Limitless was coming into the region, and a lot. There's been a massive amount of water under the bridge since then, but we were all new and bright-eyed and excited. But Sin, maybe the best place to start is what happened with Limitless, and where does this all go from here? Small question to start us off.
No, no, definitely. It's tough, man. Like obviously we didn't want to close, but we kind of just felt like we were like kind of stuck in a rut. Like we couldn't like really like we couldn't find any budget to like do more than we were already doing, and we kind of knew that like it's going to be. I mean, I wish we knew a 2/3 rule was coming. That would have helped a lot. Probably keep the doors open a little bit longer, but we kind of felt like we couldn't compete. Like we didn't have enough money to like bring an import or anything like that. And then we only had enough money to be in really Rocket League only, right? Like, I mean, we were in Counter-Strike too, but at a much lower level. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. We just kind of felt like we were stuck, and like, we probably could have maintained where we were at, but, taking that dream to the next level of entering multiple titles and that kind of thing just wasn't going to happen, at least anytime in the near future. So we just made the decision to kind of jump ship and let it go down. And then,
Now,
fortunately, go ahead.
when was that, Sin? Because I mean, the announcement I think was 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But obviously, that's the decision wasn't made on the Friday before that.
No.
So how long had this sort of been in the process, I guess?
Yeah, so I originally started thinking about it when we missed the first major. Didn't really talk to it about our leadership team or anything about that. But in the last couple of months, we really started like having conversations about it and like figuring out like kind of what was next. It wasn't like premeditated to like close Limitless and join Pioneers or anything like that. That all happened after that rumor started getting leaked that we were closing, and we kind of let people that we were close to in the scene kind of know that we were closing, and people talk, and Pioneers came knocking and said, "Hey, like what's going on? Maybe we can do something together." So really grateful for them to give us the opportunity to keep doing what we love, and not only that, but allowing like me to like bring my team with me, my 4 heavy hitters that I had at Limitless that really made Limitless what it was. We all got to join Pioneers together, which is really exciting, and kind of take over the brand and be in charge of the esports and the marketing and all of that. So we're really thankful, man. It's a really cool opportunity, and we're definitely excited to bring Pioneers Rocket League to SSA as well. They've done really great in OCE and NA and that kind of thing. So it's cool to bring them to SSA. I'm really excited about that.
And because, I mean, the Pioneers have had, well, as you've just mentioned, they're in OCE. Did they ever have a North American team? I feel like there was a North American team at one point.
Yeah. At the beginning, well, even last year they had an NA team for the first split with like JNAPS and those guys.
Okay.
But then way back at the beginning, they were in NA too with like Mektos and some other players. So, it's cool. It's exciting to bring them over to the Pioneers, to SSA. Sorry. It's gonna be exciting, man. We don't know exactly what direction we're going roster wise yet, but we're talking to tons of people. If there's any SSA Rocket League players listening, I think they have what it takes to like really take over the region. Please shoot me a DM on X. Like we're talking to anyone that really wants to wants a chance and it feels that they can do what they need to do to elevate to the next level. So feel free, reach out to me on X. You guys know where I'm at. So
well, let's discuss then for a second. What are your I guess what are the A, why SSA, and B, what do you want? What do you and the Pioneers want out of this?
yeah, so I mean SSA is just kind of what we've grown to love at with Limitless and that kind of thing. So since we're kind of running the esports over here, we decided to come back over, and they were totally on board with it too. They're open to a new region and that kind of thing. So not sure what we're looking to get out of it. Obviously, everything's kind of changed with the 2/3 rule coming. So, at first we were like dead set on working with, Sweaty and David. But now the 2/3 rule is here. Like we're obviously open to like talking with other people and finding, maybe Guns and Snowy or, Cam. Like there's lots of good players that I think could really elevate their game, with a really good import. So we're talking to everyone, man. And we're kind of just, making sure we, cross our T's and dot our I's and, make sure we make the best decision for us. So not necessarily sure what we're looking out at, to get out of this. Obviously it'd be cool to get some publisher support and stuff and, get into the blast marketing program and that stuff again, but we're not sure if that'll happen yet, but we're hopeful. So yeah.
And just to piggyback onto that conversation quickly, and we've seen it on Twitter that, sorry, I still call it Twitter. I know it's X.
Me too.
But we've seen the arms race begin. It hasn't begun in earnest, especially not in the open. Nobody's showing their hands because why should they? But there's the the Snowy Guns camp, which caught me completely by surprise. That's an unholy alliance I never saw forming, but here we are. We're in different times, and then obviously you mentioned To Die For and Sweaty still sticking it through from the OG Limitless roster. And what are your thoughts on the fact that now everybody is rallying from the same starting position? Because obviously, this is about picking up the best possible roster to compete for a world slot, which I'm assuming is gonna feature an SSA pathway through again. They haven't released this yet, but we can safely assume that now with the 2/3 rule, everybody's rebuilding a roster.
100%.
And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I mean, when we first decided we were coming to SSA, it was before the 2/3 rule was announced. I mean, we kind of like had heard through the grapevine that it may be coming, but you feel like you hear that every season. So we weren't really sure. Like, so no, we totally are all starting at the same spot, and that's what's exciting about this in particular. Like obviously, I think most people think Sweaty and To Die For are like 1A, 1B in the region as far as like mechanical skill. But like I don't think Guns and Snowy, I mean Snowy's getting a little bit older, that kind of thing, but Guns is definitely next up, I think. I've always thought that. I even told our players last season when we were struggling, or our coach last season, I was like, hey, like after this first split, like maybe it's worth trialing Guns and seeing if he fits in a little bit better, you know what I mean? So I've always wanted to work with Guns, so that's definitely an option. And Snowy, dude, he's so determined to win that like his work ethic is incredible, right? Like it truly is. Like he is like one of the most driven people I've ever worked around as far as like wanting to win. So that's definitely an option. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting because I think even outside of like those two teams, like you get Cam in the right spot, and he could really elevate his game. Like Wordy's another incredible player. Like it's going to be a lot more competitive this season, and that's what I'm mostly excited about.
Does raise when you first came in and picked up Snowy To Die For and well, originally it was Skill Steal
Darth.
and then followed by Sweaty.
No,
I mean,
Darth.
it was all
Darth.
Oh, Darth, of course. Oh my word. Geez, now we're like ancient history. It was pretty much a shoo-in. I mean, you were kind of guaranteed that whatever SSA spot there was would go to them. But I feel this 2/3 rule has entered a new dynamic because, I mean, you've highlighted Guns and Snowy and then To Die For and Sweaty, but there are other combinations with the right import player where there is no guarantee. It is going to be an actual battle and a fight, which I am as a evangelist for the region and a broadcaster and all of that. I just get really excited about it because it used to be what's the battle for second place. Now it feels like there's going to be a real battle.
No, totally. I'm excited about that too. Like honestly, like it's been fun. Like when we completely owned the region. Don't get me wrong. Like that's always a good time for an org owner. Like don't get me wrong. But it'd be great. It's going to be fantastic to see like more competition in our regionals, and I think that goes a long ways to develop the rest of the players in the region and the younger players especially. Like we even like at some points we won a grand finals like through a forfeit and stuff like that. So like I hate to see that. Like I really do. Actually more than one. I mean, we've won a couple series through forfeits for different reasons and cheating and things like that. So I hate to see that, man. I'm just excited to see some competition, and even if we don't like end up working with the best team in the region, like that's okay. We want to just be able to compete. So as long as we're pushing that top team and like we are in every single game and every single series, that's what I want to be about. And then obviously like making land would be fantastic. And I think whatever team we end up with, whether it's a Snowy and a Guns or a David and Sweaty, I think no matter what it is, like we can find the right import to elevate their game and just make the region being able to have to compete for it again. So,
which does then circle us back to an important question. I mean, you've touched on your thoughts about local players. You casting the net wide for the 2/3, and then what are your thoughts, your wish list, what are you looking at in terms of an import? And are they going to play remotely? Are they going to?
Yeah.
What is your thinking around whatever import you want to bring?
Yeah, so I don't want to like give any names or anything just yet, but we're definitely looking at multiple regions. I think OCE is a big region. Supposedly, it's just rumors at this point, but we heard that they're potentially losing a land spot in OCE. That was just the rumor that was going around at Worlds, so don't know if there's any truth to that. Like, have not heard from anyone credible. But if that's the case, there's going to be a lot of really good OCE players that are available, since Wildcard kind of just runs that division. So kind of looking there with that rumor, and then we're also looking at like some NA players and a couple players from Spain and things like that. So yeah, I don't want to go too much into detail just yet, because we don't. I mean, at this point, we don't even know like who our SSA players are going to be just yet. I mean, trust me, I think last week I met with like probably 40 different players, coaches, agents, managers, like you name it, man. I've been hammering down trying to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to be able to compete. So. But yeah, right now, like just any region is up for grabs for us for an import player. We are planning on flying that person in for each split, and then they would leave, during the major or whatever, and then come back after to be within our 90-day window. So yeah, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to bring someone there, get them close to whoever we pair them with, so they can like get some camaraderie and that kind of stuff, and then compete on the correct ping.
Yeah.
So,
But
Well, you did.
yeah, no, you
Go,
for it,
Bram.
Bradley.
No,
So
go.
I just figured I'd take the advantage here is that we don't very often get to chat to somebody representing one of the big orgs in the region, and as you know, there's a dearth of any local orgs existing at that level. I know we speak Cosmico, who are consistently up there as well, but most of the management there is also coming from abroad. It's localizing itself,
yeah.
but it's literally one of the only other orgs that has been consistent in the region for a while. And can you speak of to the challenges of running an org in a region like ours, and possibly shed light on why there are less orgs than one would imagine
Yeah.
there to be?
Yeah, so I think it just comes down to like, well, viewership for one. Like, our originals don't get a ton of viewership. So like, when you're looking at like clicks per mile and that kind of thing, like there's just no ROI there for brands specifically. And then like for us, like last season we didn't make any lands, right? So like that takes that ROI down, like any sponsors and that kind of thing. And then we also like tried reaching out to like a lot of like local SSA brands. Like I can't even think of any off the top of my head. We used to have a list, but like it was really hard just to find any sponsor money in the region. And I think that's probably what holds other orgs from either coming to the region or homegrown ones starting. There's just no money to be found. And then locally, like if you like a Cosmico or whatever, like I don't know if they're like from here or what, but like it's probably really hard to find investment money as a local org. And esports right now is running mostly through investments and that kind of thing. So I think it's just hard. It comes down to it. And then like as the region improves, like the top of the region, the salaries keep going up and up and up and up. And like now we're at a point where like it's so expensive, like, and there's only one land spot on top of that, right? So like if you're not team 1 or team 1A, like there's almost no reason to come because you're not going to make land. And then on top of that, like you're still paying a decent amount in salaries for like the 3rd, 4th, 5th place teams. It gets really hard. But those first top 2 spots, like it's so inflated on the salary for like what you actually get. It makes it really, really hard to sustain in the region, unfortunately.
Is there? Do you see a correction coming on that? Because I do think I think there were a number of factors that led to a kind of blowout with player salaries. And I do know. Look, I don't get a lot of information on the nitty gritty ins and outs of things, but I do get the sense that players almost had an idea of what they should be getting, which exceeded the bounds of the real world.
I saw that as well. Sorry, just to jump in on this and just expand a bit on it. A couple of years ago, every single local org was here demanding, a stipend is what they called it, to play this game. Even though, like you said, there's no local investment, sponsorships are rare and few and far between. So the goal of players to demand, a salary to play a game to which there was no ROI for an org, was incredible. So it did right itself a little, and especially with the opening up of multiple regions to come in to South Africa, you saw a lot of the salaried players knocked off that. And I think that the prize pool currently is literally one of the only ways most Rocket League players in the country are earning anything. I'm not saying that's right, but I also think as a player, if you're not helping generate revenue for an org, whether you're a marketing tool or directly driving profits, then a salary is a little bit misguided. So just to allow you back to that question, Sin, is do you think there's a level of parity that's being achieved, or is it just getting worse?
No, I think the 2/3 rule has actually made it worse. Like, which is crazy enough. I'm not gonna name names or like and dollar amounts or anything like that, but like some players are asking like double what they were making last season. Some are asking more than double what they made last season, which is probably. I mean, I don't want to say it's right, but like they're like there's no competition anymore, right? So like, if you're at the top of the region, you're at the top of the region, and you're probably gonna make land kind of deal. So, um, I don't see a correction coming at least this season. Maybe next season. But then again, just to like tap back into like last season we had publisher support through the decal program. We had the blast marketing program at Limitless. But even that, with what the salaries were last year, that doesn't even cover like just the roster alone for the season. So like it's not enough money like coming from the publisher. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're super thankful that we had those opportunities to work with those guys, and they were incredible to work with. And the decal program is super awesome. But like losing the sponsorship slot on the decal is like so hard, right? Because you could go and sell that for 6 figures easily, where now like you're only getting the flat licensing fee from them, and that's it. Like where there's no additional revenue. So yeah, it's hard because salaries are going up because of the 2/3 rule, and the publisher support is not going up to match that. So I don't know. It's a really tough situation to navigate, but I don't know. I think that's also like where the pioneers excel. Like they're really good on the back end. Like Mark, Alex, and Sam. Like those guys have incredible business minds, and like seeing the partnerships that they've brought in and that kind of thing. Like that's what we were lacking at Limitless. Like we were lacking like the really brilliant business mind. Like we can run esports all day long at Limitless, but like we didn't have like someone that could go get us partnerships and sponsorships and that kind of thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we all tried, but we're not on the business side. And like those guys, they all come from the business side. They don't even come from an esports background like we do. So like for us, it's like a match made in heaven. Like they're really good at certain things. We're really good at the other certain things. So like from like an organization standpoint, it's like the first time since I've been in esports in my entire career, even outside of org ownership, that like I felt like right now I feel like we have all the right pieces in all the right places, and like it's only up. Like we're working on so many cool things in the background. Like I wish I could share more, but yeah, I really feel like we have all the right pieces for the first time, and I'm so excited for it. Like I'm so motivated. Like even though we just closed down our company and all that, but like, I'm so motivated now. Like it's incredible.
So I've got a question for you as well, and I know this is not sticking strictly to Rocket League, but you've obviously had success with Limitless in SSA. You've said KCP wants to come and entrench itself in SSA again. Are you looking at multi-titling across into SSA? Are you thinking of like entrenching KCP that deeply into the local scene, or is it just from a Rocket League perspective right now?
So for right now, it's definitely just Rocket League. We're not even really looking to enter any new titles like immediately or anything like that. We actually just made the major in the finals this past weekend, which is really exciting, and we got to announce partnership there, which is really cool. So we got KCP skins coming to the finals here in a couple weeks, I think. So, but yeah, not in the immediate. We don't really have any new plans. Into 2026, we may enter some new titles and that kind of thing. So, definitely would be open to it for sure. I don't even like. I only pay attention to Rocket League in South Africa, though. To be honest with you, like
Same.
I don't even know what else is out there. So now I got to do my research.
Well, yeah, there are some other titles I hear.
So we've heard. So we've heard.
Word on the street. Sin, have there been any? I'm assuming there's going to be conversations with publisher conversations and what the support or sponsorship or whatever program looks like next year. Are those conversations still likely to happen? I mean, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of time. And I know you're probably going to be limited by what you can say, but are there indications that there will be conversations around that?
Yes, conversations are definitely being had. Don't know if anything will happen yet. Like we're not locked in on anything, but they are at least talking to us, and they loved the idea of us coming to the region and all of that. So, yeah, unfortunately, don't have better news right now, but we're working it as hard as we can for sure.
And then just circling back to a rumor you mentioned about the OCE LAN spot, and it does make me think, because there is the Studio LAN in December, which is the top 6 teams in North America and the top 6 teams in Europe. And the region that wins that is going to get an extra world slot. And that slot's got to come from somewhere, right?
That's what I'm thinking too. So like when I first heard that, I didn't think it made sense. And then once they announced the Studio LAN, I was like, wait, okay, maybe it does actually make sense. So I don't know. We'll see.
Can you imagine?
There's going to be some angry OCE people if that happens.
Can you imagine CJ just absolutely rioting in the streets of Perth or wherever? Yeah, Barbies being thrown out of buildings. No, that would be incredibly disheartening, given the fact that we want Rocket League to be a global game, and it sort of takes away from the legitimacy of calling something Worlds. And we've got a running joke, and I know that most Americans don't appreciate this, is that when the World Series of baseball, when it happens to be on the same continent, does it become less of a thing if you lose an entire region? So how important is it that if OCE does lose their spot, how much are we rioting? Are we showing a lot of love for our OCE counterparts, or are we going, shame, I'm just sad it wasn't us, like us rather than them,
Well, we already went through it, so we already lost the one spot. So
yeah.
Look, OCE will be fine. I mean, we suffered 2 brutal seasons, and we are living proof that you can survive and come through it. And so 100%. Will OCE. But let's not read the obituary yet. We're just speculating here. We have no idea. But I have had that thought, is that they're giving away a spot. That spot's got to come from somewhere, and the only place for that spot to come from, in my mind, is one of the 2 that OCE has. But we'll see how that pans out.
Yo, that's a hot take. Man, I need to go to Twitter now and post this out, because I need to know what word on the street is, because that could honestly be fire. Is there an OCE SSA rivalry brewing? Are we fighting to the death for that one spot? Find out next week.
All right, Sin, have we covered all the headline news? Is there any information we failed to extract from you?
I feel like that's it for now, man. We're excited to be back. I'm excited to be back, and we're gonna do some cool things with you guys here. So we'll be in touch for sure.
Excellent. Well, Big Sin, and just from a branding point of view, it is Pioneers now, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, we still go away. We still have Kansas City in front of it, but as far as like our esports, like we put just Pioneers now.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Pioneers in SSA. We are looking forward to your adventures in the upcoming season, and I do think this is going to be a banger of a season, and can't wait to see what you can do in, with, and for the region. Big Sin, thank you.
You guys are welcome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys having me, as always. Anytime you want me, just come ask.
Excellent. Well, I do know how to get hold of you, so you'll be hearing.
All right, guys. Hey, everyone,
Cheers,
take care, guys.
Okay, bye.
Oh, wow, bro.
All right. And just like that,
Appeared.
Bruv reappeared. Hello,
Appeared.
Bruv.
Man, that is so exciting. I think I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts with Limitless closing down, being a predominantly, purely only SSA team. Do you think this levels up SSA partnering with Pioneers? Does it take us to the next level having such a big name?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Well, certainly it's it's an established an org that's been around for a while, and they've got experience in Rocket League in a number of regions. And it's not the first time I've had someone from KCP on the podcast. Kronovi was with KCP, and I had him on the podcast. Jeez, that feels like about 2 or 3 years ago as well. So they have a bit of a pedigree. They've also had some controversy along the line. But if they are looking and do bring out an import into the region, Bromeo, your thoughts? That's got to be good for us.
Of course it's going to be good for us, but we're completely ignoring the elephant in the room, is that it's a voluntary dissolution of the players on Limitless. It could have been so easy that Snowy, Sweaty, and To Die For stayed as a team and then moved wholesale to another org, but they didn't. And right now we are seeing the formation of two separate teams. We're talking about like two player rosters, and naturally Guns gravitating towards the conversation. That was inevitable. The guy carried so many games in last season's RLCS. I say last season like it was last year, but it was actually just a few. But I think that is also an absolutely massive talking point, because they have decided that they can do better separately than they can together. And that is a good thing for SSA, because they believe, the best in the country for the longest of times now believe that either party, the Capulets or the Montagues, can win this fight. They feel that in a 3v3 contest, if they get the right assisting player from either NA, EU, OCE, it can turn into a showdown. And what's better than Limitless? 2 Limitlesses. And I feel like that's what we're getting out of this.
Exactly.
That is, while you were talking there, the question that kept coming back to me was, you said the voluntary dissolution, and I have zero inside skinny on how that came about and how and why Snowy parted with To Die For and Sweaty, and what that conversation was, how it came. Did someone jump before they were pushed? Was someone I don't know. It is fascinating, because that would have been the obvious. Limitless struggled against full import teams, but I think the old Limitless roster at full strength would do very well against any other 2/3 roster, I think, but maybe not as well.
So my whole thing about this is that it's always been very easy to support Limitless, because they are the best and have been the best that our region could put together. Now I'm not so sure, given the fact that Snowy and Guns are in a team, and To Die For and Sweaty are in a team. And then let's not forget that Wilu has been having an absolute barnstorming year. He's only getting better. And we saw it locally. And, Cam and Wordy, they're still in the mix. So I think, as far as potential upsides go, and I know that we were supposed to talk about, potential, two SSA, one import. I feel like that the potential that we got to ruminate on this for like the next week is that we've already got Snowy and Guns. We've got To Die For and Sweaty. We've got Cam, who's re-signed to Cosmico. I'm not sure who he's playing with, but I'm sure that they're going to be looking at an import player as well. And then that means that Worty and Wilu will probably be a twos partnership, looking for a third, most likely an import, because they've already played with most of the local scene. So that's already 4 possible teams that are looking incredibly good. And that makes me really excited because now I don't have to worry about some Turkish team representing some Spaniards in a region. Honestly, I don't need to worry my pretty little head about that anymore. I just need to worry about how cool these teams are going to be and which one of them is going to get it right with their team partnership. We haven't seen a wholesale team reinvention ever. There's always been a long-standing team, and now every single team is busy reinventing itself. So as far as it comes to picking a team to support, your choice is as good as mine at this point because we do not know.
And there's names we haven't even mentioned yet. And if you think about the potential with the right sort of import, and that's going to be the tough thing. Well, A, who the import is. B, can they get out here? You got Daps and Declan. They've been teammates forever. And in my opinion, are two players that they've not played to their potential. I think they are potentially like right up there as two players, but they need that right third. What about the future of Highball? Do the youngsters of Davao and Ravi stick together, or do they go their separate ways with somebody else plus an import?
Can you imagine? It'll be incredible. Ravi Devour plus, whoever coming through to bring them to a new level. That would be so cool. And I saw that Mr. Lowe is unretiring now. And who's the other guy? They're going to sign and import players. Laxstar's unretiring. So they're going to be playing for Nixa, obviously, because, Nixa's re-entering the scene. And they're going to become a powerhouse that the world has not seen. And last time I heard, even Papa Capes is pulling together a 2/3 roster now. So that is complete bullshit. Please do not quote me. But honestly,
don't clip it.
Don't clip it. But I think there is so much potential for new rosters coming from this. And let's not discount a full SSA team. Yeah, just straight up, good old fashioned from our region. And that is also an entire possibility.
And to make it worse is the amount of time that's remaining. I mean, we started off the podcast with how short this off season is. So there's not a lot of time to figure this out. It kind of has to be done right now.
We got a month till kickoff. I'm not sure how that studio thing looks. If there's going to be anything SSA related, because that does push us back a little bit. So that does give us
61
a little bit
days. The first regional is in 61 days.
You're joking. That is so close. We've got an RSC LAN in 14 days. And if you just times that by 4, that is when RLCS begins again. And that is absolutely nuts. I cannot wrap my head around this because it's too soon. I am not ready.
Franchises must be sweating.
Honestly, people must be, getting new keycaps put onto their keyboards because the amount of frantic typing going on. And I know we're going to talk about this at length again, at least for the next few weeks, because Rostermania, like you said, Greybeard, is one of your favorite pastimes.
Oh, it's that meme of absolute cinema. I live for Rostermania. And talking of that, just looking over in chat. So according to Jeff, Werty and Wilu have split.
Oh,
and then there was something else there. So. Syntax is talking about Ravi. He says the man's attracted so much interest it would be hard to see that team stick. So that's talking about Highball. So obviously a lot of interest in Ravi. And then Syntax, Jeff says, "Oh man," and then Syntax says, "Oh, sorry, I thought this was known." So it might be a bit of a leak there.
To be fair, I have seen it on Twitter as well, and it has been spoken about at length that keeping Highball together as it is would be incredibly difficult.
Yes.
And it served a purpose for a while, and I really hope that Team Highball sticks around. I know that I was speaking to Vinko to see what his long-term aspirations are, and he's like, yeah, maybe Highball should stick around, become an org, but that might be a pipe dream. Maybe it's just because I love their merch so much that I would love for them to stick around. But I think as far as things go, we're entering a very uncertain time
Mhm.
in Rocket League, and a few certainties have been granted to us. The fact that this is our region again, we do not
Yes.
have to worry about a final that nobody cares about, and for that I am so grateful. But I'm also, all of my stats don't mean anything anymore. I have to
Mm.
basically say that the last 2 seasons, that's just poof, gone.
Yes.
And those teams don't exist anymore. So we're going to have to say, pre 2/3 and post 2/3.
Yeah. But it is, but there's great uncertainty in a very positive way. Just because of the potential is huge. But given the shorter length of time, I do think we're going to see a bit of roster apocalypse through the first split. Teams that get together and fall apart during the first, and that's a bit of endemic to all regions, but especially in SSA. So there will be a bit of that as teams are thrown together and then find out they don't like each other, which then does bring up the thing again about coach-led teams rather than player-led teams. Because in a time of volatility, having player-led teams is a recipe for chaos, in my opinion.
I feel like player-led teams, you're going to see less and less of them as the scene matures and professionalizes. And I was listening to a lot. I'm going to refer to this a couple of times because I thought it was pretty interesting. But we filmed a little bit of just Telkom VS. They do that from time to time, and Hayes, obviously a CS caster, and I was listening to him get interviewed, and his question is like, how important is a coach in a CS team? And looking at org interest, because Bravado obviously did pretty well in Telkom VS because they're still involved in CS. And so the question was raised is, how important is a coach for a team? And CS for the longest of times hasn't seen the importance of a coach, because you got 5 players and they pretty self-determinate about what they want to do. But then you look at any mature scene, and especially where there are strong orgs, there are strong coaches. And you're seeing a lot less volatility from the team because they contractually want to get the most success out of the assets that they have, which are the players. Because every time a player leaves, it costs an org money and time and resources to find another player, which decreases their chances of winning. And so I feel, and this is my take from all of this, is that seeing the level of investment and time, especially from grassroots, this has been an incredible grassroots year for Rocket League in SSA. I feel like player-led teams are going to soon become a thing of the past. You're gonna see it on occasion. There's not going to be that many Jigama babies and the Brown Boys and the things like that. You'll see them, but not as often, because if tournaments like FIFAe stick around, if Telkom VS keeps doing what it's doing, if we still have Path to Pro through RLCS, if we have all of these tournaments to participate in, it gives reasons for orgs to exist within the ecosystem, and thus strengthens the position of the org. So I don't think a player-led team is the future. I think they are still very strong and abundant now, but I feel like they're a dying breed.
The last of a dying breed, and I can't and can't come soon enough, bruv.
Yeah, no, I cannot agree more. To be honest, I think the reason why NRG won was the testament to their coach and their team strategy. They didn't rely on the flashy individual players, but rather than a structured, organized plan. And that's where I truly believe where Rocket League is going. So, yeah, I mean, someone said in chat that a team led by players, not by a coach, is never led to success is so true. And it leads into every sport out there. You need a good coach who can look at it from a bird's eye view and really help you grow. So if any org is listening and you want to level up, make sure you get a good coach.
And then I see Green Soup in chat. Green Soup. For those who don't know, runs the VS and also the FIFAe, and he says FIFAe is going to be starting earlyish next year, which means there's going to be a longer. I think that means there's going to be a longer qualifying process, and also participation in local events and tournaments or whatever becomes a factor. So and I think the idea there is you have a coach who's kind of watching throughout the season and going, oh, I like what that guy's doing, and can be thinking about the roster they want to build for the World Cup. So very, very, very interesting times ahead for us, I reckon.
Just a pop question. Who do you think is or would be the best coach in SSA at the moment? If you can think of any.
SSA based coach?
Yeah, like homegrown SSA coach.
Oh God! Now you're putting me on the spot.
I'll field that question. Obviously the first name mentioned is players like coaches like CPZ, who've been around the block. They've coached the best teams and they've been up there because they're good coaches. But then you're gonna see the rise of the high school coach. You're looking at coaches like Yuckles, who's brought continuous titles back to PRG. You're going to have a look at even S. Falcon, who's been in the coaching scene for the longest at high school level. And I'd argue that at high school level, they are even more important because they deal with long-term rosters where coaching is more important than talent, because, they've got a roster for an entire year. They've got a class of people that they've got to shape and turn into a good roster. So I feel like we've got so many good coaches coming out of our region that it's very difficult to name, people at the top. And I know that especially at RLCS level, you're looking at a lot of international coaches, putting up their hand for a split or two. But you don't see a lot of continuity from coaches either, because they also move on to greener pastures the moment there's a little bit of roster mania. And that is also endemic to the weakness of the orgs. So I think, the CPZ is the most recognizable because he's been at the top, for a very long time. But that's also due to the health of the orgs that they were being supported by and their own successes. So he must be mentioned. But I think that given this new 2/3 rule and the maturing of the scene, we're going to see a lot more local players as well, local coaches as well.
Two things out of chat that I gotta highlight here. First of all, Tendo Plays has followed the channel, which gets me excited because Tendo, of course, is the big man at Synthesis Esport, who for the last 2 years has picked up a team that's already going to VS. And I've been banging the drum with him about getting involved early in Rocket League. So I'm taking that as a very positive sign, Tendo, that you're here following and that there's early interest in the 2026 season of RLCS. And then a rare chatter on my channel, Sweaty Clarence, highlighting the fact that CPZ is and Yuckles have raised the issue that he coaches Paul Russ. So Zebra has been for some time involved in coaching school teams. So he is there and thereabouts at the very, very grassroots level.
I still need Tendo to send me some more stills from Comic-Con because his content team puts out absolute fire footage.
No, they in terms of orgs, in terms of content, Synthesis clears everybody every day of the week.
Yeah, they've done incredibly well, and I feel like they're one of the few orgs who are content focused. I mean, I hate to say it because Monarch's, been so incredibly inconsistent in Rocket League as well. But they permanently on my Twitter feed, even though it's not Rocket League. And as much as I hate to, see it because it's not Rocket League, I've got to applaud them for putting out the content. And, from a tournament organizer like ourselves, Greybeard, when we're looking at RSC and who's putting out stuff, I've also got to put big props out to Cosmico. Cosmico in the last month or two has really, really leveled up their content game, and they're heading in the right direction. And I feel if anybody was going to have to get some, clapping done and, back patting done, it's them, because they are doing the work, they're putting it in, and it is really cool. So Tendo, come here. We do still want you, but we also acknowledge the good work that the people already here are doing as well.
Yeah, fabulous stuff. And then to answer your question, Jeff, the answer to the question is yes. We've just been away, so things have gotten away from us. But the photos that we took at Comic-Con will absolutely be uploaded to my website, ASAP. Gentlemen, we have waffled on long enough. We've got a couple other topics to discuss before the end. And first, next up is going to be Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch is 12 days away, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am. We are very, very close. For those who don't know, and I'd be shocked, horrified, and disappointed if you don't know, RSC mid-season tournament is a LAN in Cape Town. Well, in Stellenbosch at Paul Roos Gymnasium. All the details are here. So Bromeo, bruv, where do we stand? Is this completely out of control, or is it coming somewhat under control?
Do you know, it's one of those things you run around screaming for long enough and eventually you get tired of screaming, so you take stock of where you are and you realize it's not that bad. No, we're still screaming. We don't quite know exactly how this is going to manifest itself, what it's going to turn out to be like. But we know that the amount of work that we've already put into this, the fact that we've laid out with Yuckles that it's going to be in a school hall in Paul Roos Gymnasium, that everything is going to be provided for you when you rock up for there. The only thing you need to bring is a controller and a little bit of tuck money to buy some food and drink. That is pretty much it. All you need to do is come. You don't have to be a current player in the RSC, although that definitely helps. But there will be a threes tournament. There will be a 1v1 tournament. There will be reasons to challenge anybody to a Rocket League game. And I feel like that best covers what this LAN is going to be, is that everybody who plays Rocket League is welcome. This is for Rocket League by Rocket League. There is no other thing to do than play Rocket League. So you don't have to share a LAN space with any of those dirty Fortnite players. You don't have to talk about Counter-Strike. You don't even have to listen to somebody talking about ganking or jungling. This is just a Rocket League LAN. And I feel like we don't get enough of those. And
what do you mean you don't get enough? We have one of them. We have precisely one of them a year.
One.
Yeah.
And I think if you just play Rocket League and there's mates of yours in the scene, come through, because what all of this is about community. Getting back and meeting the people that you spend hours and hours and hours in Discord with, and just playing the game that we all love. So there is no expectation to this tournament. It's not going to be a place where Snowy would come and farm the 1v1. It's not even a place where To Die For and Guns are going to form up another scratch team and come farm us. It's not that kind of tournament. And whilst I would love to see them at this event, this is going to be very, very less sweaty. And that's something we're proud of.
Less sweaty, less snowy, and less to die for.
Exactly. So I'm not sure if I've covered all bases, but it's on the 4th of October. It starts at 9 a.m. in the morning, but if you wake up a little bit later, that's not a problem. And overall, it's just going to be a day of fun and getting to meet Greybeard and listen to him shout at Rocket League screens.
First and foremost, quickly just to add on to what Bromeo said, covered everything. But if there is anyone in chat who wants to get involved or wants to help in any way, shape, or form, please DM Bromeo, myself, or Dutch, and we could use the help on the day. That's it for me. Just wanted to get that in there.
And we are going to be there. Friday is set up. We're going to be setting up on Friday. Then we're going to have a bit of a social, the event itself on Saturday, and then breakdown Saturday night. So come through on Friday, come through on Saturday. This is first and foremost a community get-together. This is not RLCS. It is not VS Gaming. This is about us here, you there, all of us just having a great time. And it is being put together, as everything in RSC is, by willing and overworked community people with a zero budget. So we're just going to make it. It's going to be a blast. There'll be boerewors, rolls, and Coke at the very least, and we'll hang out. We'll eat boerie rolls. We'll play Rocket League. It's going to be a time. So get involved. I've heard that Muzz is flying down, which is so banger.
That is so cool.
I'm so excited about that. And shout out to you, Muzz. It's going to be great to have you there.
It's going to be so cool. And, do not make a mistake. There still are going to be some prizes. And while Greybeard fixes whatever he's done with his camera, I'm going to tell you about that. I'm going to tell you about that because we brought on Nearstream as a sponsor for RSC. They have agreed to help with some prizing. Slayer's going to be there. They will be entreating everybody who is of legal drinking energy drink age to some Slayer, and that's going to be great. It's where we're going to debut our own RSC can, which is going to be so damn cool too. And last but not least, we could not do it without some trophies. So I know that Dutch, who's working behind the scenes to get it done, Bruv is also committed to helping us find some solid trophies for this. So it's not going to be a nothing event. It's also going to be quite a fun event with regards to what we are going to be, handing out for the winners. So it might not be the Telkom VS, but I feel like it's going to be up there for pure content and pure vibes.
Okay, my whole camera setup is falling apart here, which is
okay. He's still coming. So, bruv,
I think I got it.
You got it.
I think I'm okay. I think. Okay. Am I bad?
I don't know. You're looking at me.
Hello.
Oh my word.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Okay, fine.
I'm not gonna drop my chair. I want to be the tallest right chair. It's like the only time I can be.
Oh wow. Was that your chair? Was that your camera?
No, that's my camera.
That's a camera. I was
all right. Well, that's as good as it's going to get for the rest of this podcast. Oh my god.
I love that.
All right, fine. So that's Stellenbosch.
Stellenbosch.
We have one podcast between now and then. And then, Bromeo, we have no details, but it's worth mentioning. There is another LAN in the works. And if we thought Stellenbosch was being done by the seat of our pants, wait until you hear about this one.
Yeah, so I cannot confirm it, but it has been brought to our attention by our buddies at Slayer that we are going to be partnering up to deliver some amazing, juicy Rocket League content in Joburg. So this time, fellow Joburgers, you do not have to journey to a place with a flat-topped mountain in order to play the game that you love. It will be a small-scale LAN happening somewhere in Joburg. We'll release those tidbits of information once we have them. But yes, we are getting another LAN. It will not be affiliated to, say, RSC, but it could be. We don't know. We haven't decided. So, if you, sitting here in chat, want a specific theme about a LAN, if you want to say that this is the Rocket Revolution, sure, let us know. Tell us, what sort of LAN should we pull together rather hastily and, very unprofessionally.
And then while I was futzing around with my camera, I don't know if you mentioned where it's going to be.
I haven't because I will not confirm that, but it is in Joburg. Joburg's big enough, bro. If we release the venue to you and it turns out to be in like Honeydew or the West Rand and you say, no, that's too far, well, then you don't deserve a LAN.
All right, so it will be this side of the world, people. So those who are losing out on Cape Town, fear not. Fear not. We will have a LAN here, but more details on that to come. And then last but not least, RSC, and it's a bit problematic, RSC, because again, with new things in Rocket League, we're struggling with ball chasing. So either Bruv or Bromeo regale us with the massive problems we have on why we can't show leaderboards and all of that good stuff.
I'll lead it first off, and it's one of the primary reasons why we don't see S Falcon around here these much, because he's stuck in the mines of RSC, trying to make sure that it doesn't collapse and it doesn't break. And right now it is pretty broken, because now with another update, with Rocket League, especially with the 4v4 format, it's broken ball chasing again. So that's why we don't have any cute statistics to feed you and tell you who's got the most demos this week, or, any of that. Oh, by the way, another big fact, I got cut by Unity Esports from my Rocket League team that I had supported them lifelong for at least 2 weeks. Shocked. I've never, ever been cut from a Rocket League team. I know I'm not great, but you don't need to tell me. So the Unity, if I cast any of your games, they will be biased against you. I'm sorry. But back to the original point. We're talking about ball chasing not working. S Falcon has assured us that they're working on a fix, and it will be fixed soon for your statistic wholeness, and looking at the sheets going forward. So all of the fixtures will be updated to the ones that have been played, and all of the relevant game stats will be sorted out. So do not stress. It will be sorted out soon. But for the time being, ball chasing has unfortunately imploded, and we are busy sorting it out.
But at the same time, RSC Rocket League is continuing. So we're now in week 5. And bruv, I've got to give a quick shout out. I have been very impressed by your performance in particular. I got to see you on stream last week, and it seems on the evidence of the one game I saw, looks like you're having a good season.
Yeah, no, it went well. I think both my teammates, Berserker being the sort of favorite and prospect, was like, you know what, we're gonna make Bruv shine on this stream, and kind of held back a bit, I think, and let me do well. But all testament goes to them. But yeah, no, we're having a good season. Cosmico's prospect team and Cosmico in general. I think we did pretty well this week. But yeah, there is one thing I want to talk about regarding RSC, and that is a poll that can I speak about that? Or am I a bit early?
Go for it. Chuck it.
So I released a poll earlier. It has not closed. I should probably post these things a bit earlier, but let's conclude the people that voted. I put out a poll that basically said who do you guys think would get the most demos in season 4? Kind of we're nearing that midway point, and I kind of selected the people who are doing the best on the amount of demos, and the results are quite far and in between. It's Olympic with 78.6%.
Wait. Prod. Just please click on the Bromeo quickly, and just so we can see the stats. There we go. 20% now for the Bromeo.
So there, as you can see, everyone's favoriting Olympic, who isn't actually currently on what's been recorded that high on the leaderboard for demos. In fact, Lunat has the most demos out of all of the 4 on that list. But yeah, everyone's favoriting Olympic to lock it up the end of the season and get the most demos.
And Demonic's in chat saying, Bromeo, you need a team for demos to count.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. You don't have to be an asshole, though. My feelings do hurt. I am a human, even though I am very good at demolitions. So, guys, this is...
There's a very specific reason why I put Bromeo's name in the list, even though I knew knowingly he's not connected to the team.
Guys,
a man with vengeance. A man with vengeance will create the most chaos in the field. So I'm confident that this man will get a shot, and when he does, you're not going to be on the field. You're just going to be demoed every 5 seconds.
Honestly, so Unity, it sucks to be you. I will literally join any team that is not Unity so I can demo you guys the whole game. But most importantly, we can actually do a Bachelor episode where I interview orgs who want to, come, bring the Bromeo in. There aren't that many though, so that might be a problem because there might be like -1 org. But it means that you will get first-hand reporting from the Underground League, which is going to be launched pretty damn soon. Now that we were getting on top of it, and then ball chasing broke again. So that's just been put on the back burner. But very, very soon, Silver and his team are working on it, and there will be a reason to play RSE, even if it's not for the official 10. So yeah, that's all I got for that one.
Now, we do have games on stream this week, so let's have a quick look at that. The games you can expect to see on Thursday night on stream. There they have it. We have 2 prospect games and an elite game and a master game. Unity versus Monarch in elite. Unity versus Genesix in prospect. Ooh. White Rabbit Gaming versus Death Cloud in master. And then Cosmico. Bruv, we're going to see you again versus Shadow.
Going to see me again.
In
I'm very excited for that master match. Actually, that Death Cloud team is so solid. And we played White Rabbits earlier in the season, and they had like disconnectivity problems, so it wasn't that fulfilling of a match. So hopefully they can have their full team there with no connectivity issues, and we can see Ravi perform. That's going to be a nail biter of a match.
And
banger.
Let's just put it out there for a second week in a row. We've got a master team, playing, and that's like a unicorn when it comes to stream games, because those guys can never agree on when they're going to be playing. It's usually some obscure hour. So props to WRG and DCE for getting this in, but also for the first time, we're going to be seeing Unity and Genesix putting up their hands. I love to see the spread, because Cosmico and Deathcloud have been very consistent on stream this season, and it's nice to see WRG and Unity and Shadow also featuring more often as well. So overall, it's a pretty good deal.
Catch it all on Thursday night. Gentlemen, this has been a banger of an episode, and in retrospect, I'm glad we didn't get everything that was supposed to be on tonight, because I think we would have been
here until 11.
Would have gone on until at least 9:30. Yeah, because there were 2 other guests that were going to be on, but that content will come in the future. But that is going to wrap it up from us. But we're officially in an off season, and it feels busier than any season we've had. It is huge, it's big, it's enormously exciting, and I am so continually grateful to be a part of it. I'm going to be going to Grind Rocket League. So far, my RLCS analyst tag hasn't gotten as much salt as I was hoping it would get, but I'm going to continue trying. So that's where I'll be going to from here. Bruv and Bromeo, thanks for hanging. If you've got closing words, say them now, or is saying goodbye. And don't say closing words just because I've asked. If you don't have them, that's okay.
No, I do have some closing words. My former RST team, of course I do. Unity will be playing in the second slot this coming Thursday. In all likelihood, I will be casting their game. So do not be surprised if the commentary is unfair and biased against them. They earned it. So that is all from me this week.
Not as impartial as you would expect.
Nothing from me. Have a good week, guys. I'll see you all on the field, on the pitch.
All right, from all of us to all of you, peace! We are out.
They do not know the rising towers of Hillbrow. They do not know the sprawling suburbs of the north. They do not know the sweet sounds of isiXhosa, Afrikaans, Sesotho. They do not know our ways. They do not know our people. They do not know us. We are not waiting for permission. We are not asking to be seen. We are our own region. We are SSA. RSC Johannesburg. RSC Nairobi, RSC Saint-Denis. This is not just a league, it is a movement. 4 seasons deep, and we are only just beginning. We train on 200 ping. We grind through blackout. We fight through silence. And we win anyway.